Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you here today, and thank you for joining us. As we evaluate the State Department's budget and posture, we must ensure that its structure, priorities, and resources are aligned to effectively advance U.S. national interests. That includes ensuring global health assistance is targeted, transparent, and focused on delivering life-saving care where it is needed most. PEPFAR has been an incredibly successful global health program over the past 20 years, and it's something that America should be proud of. However, the world has changed in those 20 years, and the U.S. should begin helping other countries take ownership of their HIV prevention and treatment efforts. To ensure success, we should make sure that there are planned, predictable, and negotiated timeframes. So in this committee's efforts to reauthorize the State Department, how can we define in statute the mission of the Bureau of Global Health Security and Diplomacy to facilitate transfer of ownership for global health programs to partner countries?
That's a great question that we'd have to collaborate on in terms of statutorily defining what those benchmarks are. But I think the broader point is the best foreign aid is foreign aid that comes to an end because it's achieved its purpose. In the case of PEPFAR, where today 85% of its recipients are still receiving assistance, you want to reach a point in which one of two things happens. The transmission of the disease stops, but also the partner nation has built the capacity to be able to handle it themselves. Not PEPFAR specific, but many of these programs, what ends up happening is even if they do achieve their initial goals, it now it morphs into some new target that's created in order to continue to sustain the program. So ideally what you want to see is foreign aid that goes into a country, deals with the acute problem, but ultimately helps the country have the capacity to deal with the chronic problem, to prevent it from becoming a problem. And I think that's the ideal benchmark. You define it through a period of time, through gains year over year, and ultimately designed to increase partner capacity so the day will come where they can self-sustain. I think many of these countries would like to see that happen. What cannot continue is this open-ended spending all across the world on all kinds of things. We just can't do that. We are by far, it's not even close, we're by far the most generous nation on earth on foreign aid, by far. And we'll continue to be, by far, with no other equal, including China, despite all this alarmist stuff. But at the same time, it's got to be forward our national interest, and it cannot be throwing away taxpayer money.
So recently, companies have begun developing novel HIV prevention therapies that last longer and can increase adherence, improving HIV prevention outcomes and reduce costs. As this committee seeks to reauthorize the State Department, how can we ensure that the Bureau of Global Health Security and Diplomacy is encouraged to quickly deploy these American innovations to PEPFAR partner countries?
Well, I think at the statutory front, we can, in the reorganization, in fact, if you're able to do a reauthorization, we can build that into the law and into the requirements. From a management perspective, it's what we should expect of our people. In essence, every single year when we engage in something, you have to be able to outline how is this in the national interest, how do you measure success, and it has to be analyzed on a regular basis to ensure that it's delivering. You don't want to be 10 years into a program before you realize you spent all this money on a title that sounds good, but you didn't get the outcome. And now you got to keep funding it, or someone will come up here and create a protest or lead an effort. We had this entire thing called, I call it, the foreign aid industrial complex of NGO on top NGO on top NGO on top of NGO, who have built this massive monster complex of foreign aid. In some cases, one project has like 15 subcontractors underneath it before it finally reaches a local partner. That's outrageous. We cannot allow that to build and continue to build in that way.
Okay. And then New Jersey boasts an unrivaled biotech industry that provides many products to the PEPFAR program, including HIV diagnostics. As you integrate PEPFAR functions into the Bureau of Global Health Security and Diplomacy, how are you looking to ensure that diagnostics will continue to be a key component of the PEPFAR program?
That's great insight. That's the kind of input we want to see, and that's the kind of input we want to work with you on and members of this committee on. These are the kinds of things that we can build ultimately in an authorization bill, but more importantly in our internal practices, again, to ensure that when we're providing aid, it's the right aid and the kind of aid that helps us meet the benchmarks that we've set.
And how does PEPFAR fit into your broader vision of foreign assistance that advances U.S. national security and global health security objectives?
It's a program we're proud of. It's one of the first programs we restored after the 90-day pause. Even before that, it's one of the first programs that I've highlighted here today. 85% of the recipients are on it. But it does need improvement. The program does need improvement.
Thank you. Yield back.